Tick Pink and help TM Pick and Pay support breast cancer awareness. This time check is brought to you by TM Pick and Pay.
Well, good evening and welcome. This is the main news. My name is Butler Nepure.
And I'm Joyce Mabiga. Piswe Dominica is on sign language. We start off with the leading stories tonight.
Our top stories on this bulletin tonight. All is set for the State of the Nation address and the official opening of the second session of the 10th Parliament of Zimbabwe tomorrow.
In other news, the Cabinet says rehabilitation of Beitbridge Bulawayo Victoria Falls Road to begin soon.
Another boost for the tourism sector as new accommodation facilities worth $60 million are being developed in Victoria Falls.
And the big one in sport, England-based midfielder Marvelous Nakamba bounces back as Warriors coach announces squad for the back-to-back 2025 AFCON qualifiers against Namibia. Those are our leading stories, Butler.
Absolutely. And the big story, of course, that we are chasing, all roads will be leading to the new Parliament building as all is set for the official opening of the second session of the 10th Parliament and State of the Nation address by President Emmerson Mnangagwa.
Mnangagwa is expected to address a joint sitting of the Senate and National Assembly when he officially lays out the legislative agenda for the second session of the 10th Parliament. The President will also deliver his State of the Nation address with all necessary arrangements now in place.
Our expectation is, as usual, is His Excellency the President will outline the legislative agenda for Parliament for the incoming session, that is October 2024 into October 2025. And basically that will outline the issues that Parliament will be seized with during the course of that session. And it will include the bills, some of the bills that are currently before Parliament that will need to be rolled over into the next session, and any other new legislation that His Excellency the President will outline.
Several bills, including the Parks and Wildlife Amendment Bill, Death Penalty Abolition Bill, and Mines and Minerals Bill, are at various stages of enactment into law.
There are some bills that we believe will be rolled over into the next Parliament. I know for a fact that we have the Mines and Minerals Amendment Bill, which had been referred back to Parliament. It has now been brought back and has been submitted to Parliament, so we are now ready to gazette it at any time. So definitely that one should be some of the bills that will be coming to Parliament. We also have several others that are still being attended to by the respective ministries.
Some other bills that are expected to be rolled into the second session of the 10th Parliament include the Private Voluntary Organizations Amendment Bill, as well as the Persons with Disabilities Bill. John Nandara, ZBC News.
Of a partnership between government and Bitumen World Construction Company.
Government has intensified the rehabilitation of major highways to enhance trade, with the Beitbridge Bulawayo Victoria Falls Road said to be undertaken by government in partnership with Bitumen World. In a post-cabinet media briefing in Harare this Tuesday, the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jennifer Mswere, said besides the Beitbridge Bulawayo Victoria Falls Road, other roads are receiving attention.
Cabinet would like to advise that the plans are underway to upgrade, rehabilitate, widen and dualize certain sections of the Beitbridge Bulawayo Victoria Falls Road through a public-private partnership with Bitumen World under a design, build, operate and transfer contract. The rehabilitation and reconstruction of the road will enhance the movement of transit traffic, thereby making this route the most preferred along the north-south corridor connecting Zimbabwe to South Africa, Zambia, Botswana and Namibia. In addition, financial arrangements have been put in place for the construction of the Kwekwe-Nkai Lupane Road, the Bulawayo Nkai Road, the Karoi Binga Cross-Dete Road.
Minister of Transport and Infrastructural Development, Honorable Felix Mona, said the partnership will see the construction company going on site immediately.
We are talking of a 750 kilometer stretch of road, where we are covering Bedford, Bulawayo, which is about 315, and the balance, which is Bulawayo Vic Falls. And if you look at this arrangement, the feasibility studies are done already. So what we are saying here is not a talk show. You see us on the ground, and I'll be actually witnessing, and I'll also invite the fourth estate, so that as we partake in the exercise of rebuilding. So this is something that is going to happen immediately. Similarly with the Nkai Bulawayo, if you know very well, we're done close to 54 kilometers or so, when we were left with about 100 to get into Nkai. But we're doing on a snail space, where we're looking at about 5 kilometers or so. And currently, the contractor is working on this particular section. But we have now adopted a model where we are going to be rehabilitating the 159 kilometers, completely non-stop.
Cabinet also discussed the participation at the Expo Osaka 2025, with the official launch slated for next week.
Preparations for the Expo are on course, with the construction of pavilions and the handover of space to countries expected to be completed by the end of September 2024. Internal works will commence in October 2024 and are expected to be completed by January 2025. The official launch of the Zimbabwe's participation at the Expo 2025 Osaka will be held on the 10th of October 2024 and will be presided over by His Excellency the President, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa. The official launch is expected to intensify awareness and to raise private sector funding for Zimbabwe's preparation for this global event.
It is an expo which will last about 7 months, and countries will be exhibiting what they're able to produce in their countries and marketing the same to the generality of the population that will visit this particular expo. In our own case, our Zimtrade will be leading in this regard, and our commissioner is no other than Alan Majuru, who is the CEO of Zimtrade, and he will be working together with the private sector who may want to showcase their wares in Osaka and to the world through Osaka, and the outcome therefore is marketing of Zimbabwean goods and services, but also at the same time we will be marketing ourselves as a destination for investment.
Cabinet further deliberated on the food deficit and urban cash disbursements, with 68,000 tons of grain having been moved to various parts of the country, while all chiefs have received 5 tons to assist vulnerable families. More than 9,000 tons of mealie meal have been collected for the school feeding program. On the 2024-2025 summer cropping season, Zimbabwe is expected to receive normal to above normal rainfall starting in November. Bruce Chawanda, SABC News, Harare.
While there is a buzz following the announcement of the rehabilitation of the Bulawayo Victoria Falls Highway contractors' bitumen world, as we heard in the earlier report. Let's get this report now from Mhlomuli Ngube.
The Bulawayo Victoria Falls Highway Rehabilitation Project has received a major boost after government approved 2 contractors for the project. Matabeleland North Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Richard Moyo, confirmed the development, adding that the budget has also been approved.
Ngithanda ukubonga kakhulu kumongameli wethu baba E.D. Mnangagwa le Second Republic. Ngemva kwabantwana beMatabeleland North bekhale ngomgwaqo yabe emithathu eMatabeleland North ukuthi yonke akuhambeki bekungasahambeki eMatabeleland North from Bulawayo to Victoria Falls, from Bulawayo to Nkai, from Bulawayo to Cholochi imigwaqo le ayisahambeki. Siyabonga kakhulu ngizokuthiwa namuhla kuphume i-resolution from cabinet ukuthi uBitman World uzabuye uzoqalisa umgwaqo lona phansi iBulawayo Victoria Falls under iprogram ye-BOT. Siyakubonga kakhulu and siyambonga kakhulu umongameli wethu le Second Republic.
The rehabilitation of the Bulawayo Victoria Falls Highway is expected to boost the tourism and mining sectors.
Ngogwedu unobva ku Bulawayo uchina ku Victoria Falls uri kutanga kugadzikwa kutaura kwati kuda makomba ari kuvhagwa asi zvamunoona mugwagwa unoenda ku capital yedu yetourism ndo kunonzi kune tourism ku Victoria Falls saka mugwagwa uri number 1 tozonogadzira futi Harare Kariba Chirondo tukugadzirisa futi.
The highway is also a link to regional markets like Zambia, Democratic Republic of Congo and Namibia. Mhlomuli Ncube, ZBC News, Wange.
Mexico City was a hive of activity this Tuesday as President-elect Her Excellency Claudia Sheinbaum was sworn in at the Legislative Palace of San Lazaro.
Good evening, Zimbabwe. We're coming to you live from the Legislative Palace of San Lazaro in the heart of Mexico City, where there is the inauguration of the incoming president of this country, Her Excellency Claudia Sheinbaum, who is being inaugurated here today. As you can see, it's a hive of activity. Media people, the local people are all here to see the historic event where the country of Mexico, which is a North American country, is having its first female president. This is a country that has a population of over 131 million people, and the capital, Mexico City, has over 22 million people. And Zimbabwe is ably represented at this event by the Vice President, Comrade Kembo Mohadi, who is here representing the government of Zimbabwe as the country tries to create synergies in business and in the diplomatic front. The processes are ongoing, and we will continue updating you as the time continues.
Well, I'm sure we should be able to get another update again during the course of the evening. And of course, you can watch out during the course of other bulletins on what is currently taking place with regard to the swearing in of the new Mexican president. Elsewhere, lithium producing giant Bikita Minerals is establishing a smelting plant to produce lithium sulfate. This plant is worth 500 million United States dollars.
Government's directive to focus on value addition has jolted Bikita Minerals into action, with the Sinomine Resource Group-owned entity working on establishing a new smelting plant that will see them accruing more benefits from the booming lithium battery market. The company's managing director, Mr. Judong Gong, revealed the plan this Monday before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Mines and Mining Development.
We still not stop our investment. So now we will stop our investment, another small flotation plant to 100% to use our tailing. So we do not want to waste the resource here. So even the tailing before, we want to recover it. And meanwhile, in the next, another new investment, the volume around 4 million to 5 million, 400 to 500 million dollars to build a lithium smelter here, to bring more additional value and to bring some more technology to more close to the battery industry.
The committee, which was on a familiarization visit at the invitation of Bikita Minerals, was impressed by the company's commitment to value addition and beneficiation.
Since our new bill now is by we Parliament, we must put a gear up from what they've been doing currently to a better actual beneficiation.
Diet amendment of the Mines and Minerals Bill for communities to benefit from local resources.
The challenge yatinayo umbe nde mining bill. Mining bill redu rakashata singambobviri because dere 1963 doesn't favor the communities, but it favors the investors. So as long as that mining bill is try to rectify, the communities continue suffering.
The Second Republic has positioned industrialization at the center of the drive as part of efforts to achieve an upper middle income society by 2030. Mace Martina, ZBC News, Bikita.
This emerged when Nicaragua's ambassador to Zimbabwe, Ms. Nadeska Cuthbert, paid a courtesy call on the Speaker of the Tuesday.
It was about sharing a bit on the struggles and history and the advancement of Nicaragua, but also ways where Zimbabwe and Nicaragua can collaborate to continue on to the development plans that each one of us has as country for our people and for to be able to be heard also in the struggles that we share in common. Because Nicaragua and Zimbabwe share a lot in common. In agriculture, in tourism, in mining. Those are also big areas of Nicaragua in trading, but also collaboration in every other aspect because we can learn from each other.
In July this year, Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga attended the 45th anniversary of Sandinista Revolution in Nicaragua, where he also reflected on the deep bilateral and economic relations between the two countries. John Nandara, ZBC News, Mount Abden.
The call to lift the illegal embargo imposed on Zimbabwe by the United States and its Western allies is set to be amplified this October as the anti-sanctions month kicks off.
Relations between Zimbabwe and Western countries led by Britain turned sour at the turn of the millennium when the Southern African country embarked on the land reform redistribution exercise gave Zimbabweans control over the means of production, and the West was livid, hence imposition of illegal sanctions to effect regime change. Since then, Zimbabwe's economy was set back with cumulative losses estimated at above $40 billion United States dollars. The sanctions have received widespread condemnation from within and outside Zimbabwe. The United Nations General Assembly has become the best global platform to highlight the negative effects of sanctions on Zimbabwe.
Economic hardship continue to affect the sister Republic of Cuba in stark contrast to the ideals of inclusivity and the goals of leaving no one behind. Namibia calls for the end of economic, financial, and commercial blockade against Cuba and calls for removal of Cuba from states that are accused of sponsoring terrorism. Namibia also reiterates its call for the immediate and unconditional lifting of illegal sanctions against our neighbor Zimbabwe, which hinders the country's capacity to achieve sustainable development goals.
I would like to take this opportunity to once again call for an end to the embargo against Cuba and the sanctions on Zimbabwe, the current chair of our regional economic community, the SADC, because they are unjust and inhuman as they increase the suffering of their people and greatly hinder the economic and social development of those countries.
October has since been set aside as anti-sanctions month, while the 25th has been declared the Southern African Development Community SADC Anti-Sanctions Day. Despite all the negative effects of the illegal sanctions, Zimbabwe has remained resilient, especially now that the Second Republic is pushing for increased investments and looking inward for resource mobilization to grow the national economy. Zimbabwe has recorded unprecedented developments in road and dam construction, as well as agriculture, education, and providing social safety nets for the citizenry. The U.S. is, however, unrelenting in efforts to punish Zimbabwe's illegal economic sanctions. The U.S. continues to deny the existence of the embargo, although 17 fire engines destined for Zimbabwe from Belarus have been held by Lithuania due to the illegal sanctions. Lithuania has decided to send the fire engines to Ukraine, which has sparked controversy with stakeholders slamming the move. As Zimbabwe commemorates the anti-sanctions month, several sectors of the economy have been adversely affected, Although government remains above the situation through the Nyika Inovakwa Nevene Vayo ilizwe lakiwa ngavanikazi valo mantra. Bruce Chawanda, CBC News, Harare.
More than 30,000 metric tons of wheat have been harvested since harvesting of the cereal crop started 3 weeks ago. Let's get this report from John Nandara.
Harvesting of wheat is progressing well, with the first phase of early planted wheat now complete. Lands Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development Permanent Secretary Professor Obedjiri said the board.
The first decade of harvesting is now complete. We start now on the second decade, which means the initial wheat which was planted very early is now harvested. So of that we've harvested as of Friday last week, we had harvested 33,000 tons, which is slightly over 5,000 hectares that were harvested. Of that, over 6,000 tons have already been delivered to GMB. Obviously, at this stage, we are seeing a lot of high moisture content, and farmers are still holding so that they harvest all of it to be able to deliver.
Meanwhile, government has introduced a statutory instrument that compels wheat farmers to bale wheat stover for livestock feed in the wake of shortages in drought-prone areas.
We have taken that decision to ensure that even the wheat that we grow must contribute to the livestock feed security. We therefore have approached the Attorney General, and we now have a statutory instrument which compel the wheat farmers to consider and to take wheat stover as livestock stock feed. So starting immediately, all wheat farmers that grow wheat and that are harvesting and that are going to be harvesting in October, they must deem the wheat stover as livestock feed.
120,000 hectares were put under wheat during the winter season, with a projected output of 600,000 metric tons. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
Local mining houses are registering sustainable gold production growth as investment into new mines established under the Second Republic is paying off.
Eureka Gold Mine in Guruve and Pixton PLS Gold Mine in Chegutu posted impressive production that saw total gold output surging 22% from 1.08 tons in 2023 to 1.35 tons in 2024. Pixton PLS mine underground operations commissioned by President Emmerson Mnangagwa last year contributed 15% of the Padenga Group's total production. This feat indicates how reinvestment in existing mines and opening of new ones is helping to sustain production of the yellow metal. Deputy Minister of Mines and Mining Development Engineer Polite Kambamura said the resuscitation of old mines and opening of new ones is now paying off.
The group has given half of the share, led to an increase of 25%. Again, we've seen an increase in gold production coming from Blanket Mine. In the second half of this year, their gold production went up by 19%. All this is credited to the working environment, which is very conducive, which was brought about by the Second Republic, and also the increase in international gold prices.
Mining analyst Malon Gwadu commented on the latest set of results, saying it also shows the resilience of the gold mining sector in a year Gwanda.
Gold has proven to be a serious hedge instrument and a commodity with defensive capabilities, both locally and internationally, as exemplified by the increase in its pricing internationally, which has buoyed the confidence in our local producers to increase both their productive capabilities in terms of volumes as well as their headline incomes and strategic positioning of their production in the market.
In its latest Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe Monetary Policy Committee statement of last week, the central bank revealed that foreign currency inflows have increased by over 13% during the first 8 months of the year to over $8.4 billion. And this is partly attributable to strong production volumes of the gold by local firms.
Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
You're watching the main news. Remember, these and more stories are available on our website in greater detail. Do visit www.zbcnews.co.zw.
Also available on all social media platforms. You can go to Facebook. Those of you joining us on Facebook, we appreciate you indeed. You can also go to Instagram and Twitter. And also you can like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Well, there are more stories to come on this bulletin, and this is what you can look forward to.
New accommodation facilities worth 60 million United States dollars being developed in Victoria Falls.
And the squad has been announced against the qualifiers for the qualifiers against Namibia. And guess who's back in the fold? Marvelous Nakamba. We'll be giving that to you a little bit later when Lawrence joins us with sport. But for now, we're off to a break.
Zimbabwe's mining legacy is a story etched deep in our soil. It's a tale of hard work, resilience, and human ingenuity in unearthing riches and building a nation. This commitment to progress continues as mining industry players continue to unlock the vast potential of our mineral reserves, driving economic transformation through innovation, mineral beneficiation, and value addition. Are you ready to be part of the next chapter? Explore cutting-edge advancements and discover endless opportunities in Zimbabwe's expanding mining value chains at the 27th edition of MineEntra, taking place from the 9th to the 11th of October 2024 at the Zimbabwe International Exhibition Center in Bulawayo. Register via our website www.zitf.co.zw. MineEntra 2024, unearthing success, the mining value chains, innovation and industrialization nexus.
Shark on the line.
He took my fish.
Did you see that? I just was like, what?
I really want you to find someone nice who would mean the world to you and make you so happy.
Bernardo Silva, Stones, Foden, a little bit of time. Oh, what a shot! What a goal! What a player!
Emma fighting corruption. By the very nature of the operating environment, business faced considerable exposure to theft, fraud, and unethical behaviors. The Deloitte Tip-Off Anonymous Whistleblowing Services is a unique business solution that combats series of problems facing organizations such as corruption, embezzlement, abuse, dishonest, and other inappropriate behaviors in the workplace. The Environmental Management Agency, EMMA, subscribes to this whistleblowing service. All stakeholders of EMMA are welcome to use the Deloitte Tip-Off Anonymous hotline to report any unethical behaviors within EMMA that they may be aware of in a safe and confidential manner. Contact Deloitte Tip-Off Anonymous on the numbers appearing on your screen.
Innovating for sustained growth towards an industrialized Zimbabwe.
The 20th she knows from 0900 hours.
All graduates, their parents, guardians, and invited guests should be seated by 0800 hours.
Themed Innovating for Sustained Growth Towards an Industrialized Zimbabwe. The TAT website.
Graduates must attend rehearsal on Thursday, 3rd October 2024 at the graduation venue from 1400 hours.
I'm so
Welcome back. You're still watching the main news. Bulawayo residents have expressed concern over the security situation at Mpilo Central Hospital, which saw a bogus doctor breaching security twice within a week. More from the following report.
The repeated offender, Prosper Mpofu, who pounced after being released on bail, has raised questions about security measures at Mpilo Central Hospital, sparking anxiety among residents who rely on the referral institution for essential medical services.
Security empilo ngabe bayilungisisa iyalekha kancane kwenzakala njani ukuthi umuntu abe yifeki aza lapha abantu engazange akhangelwe ngamaphepha ukuthi aqondile yini.
For you to go into a hospital, pretend you're a doctor, prescribe medicine which you're not qualified to do is akin to murder. Why would you give such a man bail? A man who's a danger to humanity, a man who's a danger to the residents of Bulawayo.
Pelo is a serious case. Because we have that's really we have
Vendors operating around the hospital seem to know more about the alleged imposter.
Every day passage wakungosangana isitopinda mukati kamothinda kana kuteleteka kupi saka unokutosangana nawo tangu kuti ndi doctor zvose tavasi takazokuzozviona vadini vasungwa but pesa patani ndi doctor
tosvika wapani mapatients watokuvhurisawo bhuku woti manyorerwa chii imabatsirwa iri then watokondinya topawo maprescription achinyora pasi wotonze ndanotenga kana une mari watonobuda
nanku siyambona uyangena bekungasiko kwaqala simbone ngena after ibill yakhe bese ngokwesithathu nxa ngaphambanisa engena.
The hospital's chief medical officer, Mr. Narcissus Changa, reassured the public that the safety of patients and pillows.
And then, mark my word, I owe you that response in due course. I can even openly tell you that the Bulawayo Residents Association has engaged the Zimbabwe human rights lawyers on this matter. Investigations are in place and the public will be informed. But we also want to know that we got him arrested, he was taken to the court, bounces back within 5 days and is doing exactly what he has been doing. So there must be something wrong here.
The arrest of the alleged bogus doctor, whose real name is Tauraivan Vaone, has highlighted the importance of vigilance and verification in healthcare settings. The trial of the alleged bogus doctor is expected to start on the 7th of October. Yolanda Moy, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
I guess a lot of questions and we're still looking for the answers. Let's now cross over to our Montrose studios where Dora Ncube is on standby with the next stretch of the bulletin. Dora, great to see you.
Thank you so much, Patla. I'm actually surprised the bogus doctor decided to strike again. Well, for your views and comments, do visit our Facebook page and just say what you think about it. Many thanks, of course, Patla and Joyce, for taking us on, and the rest of the team at Pocket Hill. A lovely evening to you and a lovely evening to our viewers at home. We continue with our bulletin from our Montrose studios. The Second Republic's mantra of leaving no one and no place behind in terms of access to information is progressing according to plan after the Ministry of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs took its constitutional advocacy to the vendor-speaking community in Beitbridge.
The sight of the elderly people deeply engrossed in national constitution booklets written in Venda and government officials going through the constitution precept upon precept and line upon line confirms there is equal access to information in once marginalized communities.
Abadife vohudziwa nga hechi chipida ruvoni vo honorable minister vo dababa na vorini vachirivudza nga bugu ya mulayo yo translate ka rushaka kala dam kala vorini la Chivenda.
The local leadership is convinced the Constitution Awareness Program is in line with government's thrust of inclusive development.
We also applaud the Ministry of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Deputy Minister, and your team for designing this Constitutional Awareness Program and embracing all our players in the province. This will go a long way towards promotion of public awareness of the Constitution, positive social mobilization, behavior shaping, and consensus building.
Ndikufanda takala tichikovona chikotangana mabambiri omwali waho nga lwambo lwa damu ori ndi chitu chiulwana nga manda asinasi tali kuti mandi unowana mingwa uchisoko vivuna constitution mara resa kuidiba chiko vali wanga lwa damu
The program has also been well received for incorporating all the national languages.
As the Ministry of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, it is our constitutional mandate to ensure that we promote awareness of the Constitution. And also it is in terms of the Constitution that it has to be in where we have the Constitution in Venda. At times it might be difficult for some to understand it if it's in English or any other language, but if it's in their local language, they can fully appreciate the provisions and also fully execute the constitution thereof.
Zimbabwe is the first country in Africa to produce its constitution in sign language and abridged version.
These robust measures encompassing irrigation and climate-proofing techniques to enhance agricultural production in rural communities. Let's hear more.
Simply translated to now that you are here, everything will be fine. The song sums up the gratitude among Sijauke and Pollard villages in Bubi district of Matabeleland North Province. The presidential borehole sinking program and village business units have brought a glimpse of hope, prospects of improving food security and generating revenue for households.
Jabule kakhulu into yakho nisivuyisile ngoba isiphakamisile. Sesinegadi sizawukwazi ukulima sixotshe indlala emakhaya izithebo inhlupho besinazo ezinengana nje sesizakwazi ukuthi zisondele eceleni.
Lo mama sebekhululekile ngoba bebejima iskotsho every day, but kathesi sibonga sebefaka ama tap, at least 4 taps at one time, so lababona labanye bayawatch as much as they like. Abantu bebesebengcolile okwenza okungenziwe, but kathesi mize ngakhuluma ngathi mina ngabona umama ongcolileyo nomrampa bashona I just divorce ngoba amanzi manengi.
Kunokuthi athi singarimi tathi ngoba abantu bokugara sikathi nothenda tototenda zvakanyanya nokuti kubva gore rino 2024 tototanga ukurima neso tanga kuchinja upenyu hwedu.
Thanda ukubonga kakhulu utata umnakwakwa. Hayi usincede kakhulu. Inkomo zethu bese sifa lebezisela khona bekungasena amanzi, so asazi ukuthi uqhamuke iphi kodwa ke siyavuya kakhulu.
The establishment of village business units, VBUs, under the Presidential Rural Development Program is contributing immensely to the betterment of lives in rural communities through improved food security, employment creation and enhanced income generation. Memory Chamisa, ZBC News, Bubi.
The Mbeswana community of Bubi district in Matabeleland North Province has become the latest to benefit from government's inclusive development agenda, with a secondary school being constructed in the area.
Walking long distances to school will soon become a thing of the past for learners in the Mbeswana community of Bubi district, as building material that includes bricks and roofing sheets is already on the site for the construction of a secondary school.
Sizafunda lapha sihamba umango omfitshane kulokusuka lapha semajiji. Isecondary yakhe lapha iyasinceda njengokuba thina amankazana ibisenza sihlukubezeke kusuka kachana umango umuntu. Nathi kathese sizake sithi 1 2 sibonga abakhokheli bonke.
Thina sijabule kakhulu okwenzakele namhlanje. Silethemba lokuthi kuzasincedisa singabazali labantwa bethu sebezafunda eduzane ngoba behamba umango abantwana abanye bavuka ngabo 3 esiyaqala isikolo.
To ensure the school opens in January next year.
Kusiba le ama cases amanengi abantwana okuzithwale kakhulu abantwana abamankazana. Le project ke kuyakhiwa kwalesi sikolo kuze ukuthi amathuba abakuthi abantwana bephumelele besaphambili lesikolo besesiqongweni konke lokho sikufeza ngaphansi kuka Second Republic ekhokhelwa ngoba uPresident ithi mnangakho.
The construction of the secondary school comes at a time when government is on a massive drive to build 3,000 new schools across.
The uniqueness of tourism products in specific areas was on display as Zimbabwe celebrated the Tourism Month in Gandavaroi area of Gokwe North District.
The Gandavaroi Falls, which lie along Sanyatu River in Gokwe North District, is a marvel to watch and could leave any tourist interested in natural scenery green with envy. Despite the folklore tales of how the gorge was a place where suspected witches and wizards met, this year the place was a hive of activity as government celebrated the tourism month of September at the gorge in line with the inclusive development approach.
handiti isu ndokubasa kwedu kwekupromota nzvimbo dzakasiyana-siyana. Saka kuno tina kuti tiudze vaya vanotivinga kumaofisi achitari kutsvaga kwekuita maloji, kwekuita maactivities. Tinoti handei kuGokwe, kuGandava Roy. Monocreata mabasa evana vekuGokwe. Ndizvo mari youya kuno yotenderera muno muGandava Roy.
Gokwe Gumunyu legislator Honorable Stephen Ngwenya is optimistic that the recognition will culminate in massive investments in the area.
You have developed a very powerful tool for marketing our gorge and investment opportunities in Gokwe North and the province at large. The documentary you have created needed to assure all potential investors that Midlands province is open for business.
Located some 100 kilometers north of Mtora Business Center, Gandava Roy Gorge, which is at the border of Midlands and Mashonaland West Province, is one of the many tourist attraction sites in the country and is fast gaining attention due to its alluring geomorphic features. Tafaraj Kumira, ZBC News, Gokwe.
And that's it from myself, Dora Ngube, and the Montrose crew. We take you back to Joyce and Butler. It's back to you.
Thanks a lot, Dora, there for that look at the news from our Montrose studios. Now, the National Prosecuting Authority has launched a mental health training program to improve the well-being of prosecutors who face traumatic experiences in the line of duty.
The NPA Mental Health Training Series has been rolled out in Mashonaland Central Province. NPA Mashonaland Central spokesperson Mr. Carson Kunduona told ZBC News of the scope of the program, which is meant to help prosecutors deal with emotional challenges when they handle cases involving murder, robbery, rape, grievous assault and physical abuse.
The inherent risk is that prosecutors end up subconsciously internalizing the victim's experiences, leading to secondary trauma, depression, compassion fatigue, and emotional and mental burnouts. So this program is aimed at creating self-awareness on prosecutors as well as improving their self-care so as to trigger the change process. Overall, this program complements the Prosecutor General's drive to increase qualitative and quantitative output in work done by prosecutors.
Bindura Hospital mental health nurse Eva Joy Mpofu emphasized the importance of mental health awareness for prosecutors.
As prosecutors, they face so many challenges because of the nature of their job. Some of the cases that they deal with, they are traumatic. They also have other social problems that they might be facing. So we came to their workplace so that we help them to promote mental well-being for them at work and also at their homes.
The NPA's mental health training initiative has been described as a crucial step in ensuring the well-being of prosecutors who play a vital role in the justice delivery system. Tapiwa Machemedze, ZBC News, Bindura.
And I'll give you news coming through from the courts where the trial of Harare businessmen Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu was offered to a full start this Tuesday after the defense requested more time to prepare. Let's get the details.
The highly anticipated trial of Harare businessmen Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu, who are accused of defrauding the government of more than $7 million United States dollars in a presidential goods pass-on scheme, has been rolled over to this Wednesday after the defense requested for more time.
nekuti nhasi pane zvinhu zvakawanda inini pano ndomira Chimombe avadzvetiri vanomirira Mpofu Mugiya hatinaye kuna Chimombe nasitolo saka isu vamo Chimombe tanga tichida kungomboti tigadzirise because tiri 3 malawyers saka toda kuti tinyatsobuisa nyaya yedu pamwe chete vadzvetero vatori nezvimwe zvakawanda zvavakakumbira kustate kuti vapiwe zvasati vapiwa.
Circumstances are that Chimombe and Mpofu allegedly forged a Zimbabwe Revenue Authority tax clearance certificate and a NASA compliance certificate in the name of Black Deck Private Limited They allegedly attached the documents in a bidding paper which they submitted to the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Water, Fisheries and Road Development for a tender to supply and deliver goods for the Presidential Goat Pass on scheme. It is further alleged that acting on the misrepresentation in November 2021, the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Water, Fisheries and Road Development entered into a contract with the Black Dick Livestock and Poultry Farming to supply more than 6,000 goats for the Presidential Goat Pass on scheme, but failed to deliver. Meanwhile, the state has staggered key witnesses in the matter into groups to avoid overwhelming the court.
The trial proceedings, which are commencing this Wednesday, are expected to run until Friday. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
And I'm sure Peter will be at the course to update us there on Wednesday. Now, the Harare City Council once again coming under fire, this time with allegations of attempting to surrender its waste management duties to central government.
The request made by Harare Mayor Councillor Jacob Mafume to surrender waste management to central government has been received with disdain by residents as an admission of failure and attempt to duck the constitutional provisions on devolution. In an interview with the ZBC News in Harare this Tuesday, the Harare Residents Forum noted that the mayor and his team should step up.
Remember, we elected councillors in the 2023 national elections. So if these councillors, the elected councillors, including the mayor, Councillor Jacob Mafume, if they have failed, they simply need to do the honorable thing, to resign and allow the residents to elect new councillors who can take over their functions. So instead of them then surrendering their failures to central government, they should simply say we have failed and pave way for new elected leaders to come in.
The local authority has been blasted for failing to implement sustainable solutions.
Thousands of dollars were used to finance the Mbare biogas digester there, which was not completed. But the idea, solid waste management function of City of Harare and create employment within the communities. And by creating employment, it was going to give disposable income to the residents, which in turn would have the capacity to pay their bills to the same City of Harare. But they abandoned that function. They are now leaning on central government to come and assist, yet they have not yet fully accounted for the intervention, the Mbare biogas intervention. So really, as residents, we are pushing for accountability. We are pushing for decentralization of the waste management function to communities where waste can be recycled, and only that waste which cannot be recycled by the communities can then be taken to Pomona.
Residents of Harare have been up in arms with the local authority for failing to provide essential services that include water and refuse collection, while corruption has seen some of the council managers being brought before the courts. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Harare.
Let's now go beyond our country's borders. Iran is seeking more cooperation with Russia and other progressive nations to counter Western-imposed sanctions.
Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian met the visiting Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin in Tehran, emphasizing the need to strengthen bilateral cooperation with Russia to counter the sanctions imposed by the West. In a statement after the meeting, Iranian president called on the two sides to accelerate the implementation of joint projects. The Russian Prime Minister also expressed his country's willingness to increase interaction with Iran in energy, industry, transportation, agriculture, health, and culture.
Over 20 students and teachers are feared dead after a bus carrying dozens of primary school children on a field trip crashed and caught fire just outside the Thai capital, Bangkok, this Tuesday. Reports say around 15 children and 3 teachers are reported to have escaped and have since been taken to hospital. According to reports, officials confirmed 10 bodies have been found on the bus. Meanwhile, Thailand's Prime Minister, Paetongtarn Shinawatra, expressed her condolences to the families of those killed in the crash and that the government will be responsible for all the medical costs and the compensation for those who died.
And that is a look at what is taking place across the world in our regional and international news. When we come back, we'll look at your business news. Stay with us.
Want to pay for your DSTV account or renew your DSTV subscription? Dial *151# to pay for your DSTV with your EcoCash USD wallet anywhere, anytime, and get connected instantly. No need to wait in a queue or ask anyone to pay for DSTV anymore. To subscribe for your DSTV package with your EcoCash USD wallet, simply dial *151#, select USD currency, select Make Payments, select Direct Payments, select Pay DSTV, select Renew Subscription, and you will be connected instantly. Live life the EcoCash way.
Welcome back. We'll now take a look at business news. The tourism industry is experiencing unprecedented growth with over 60 million United States dollars worth of accommodation facilities being developed in Victoria Falls.
Victoria Falls is witnessing a surge in investment with hotels, resorts and lodges at various stages of construction. This development is expected to increase the resort city's room capacity from around 3,000 to approximately 5,000, creating new opportunities for tourists and locals alike.
I also believe as an industry, tourism is growing and there is enough sunshine for everybody.
It is part of our expansion because already we've got Zimbabwe Guest Lodge, and this new product is another testimony to our wish to improve and appeal to different markets, and thus we come up with Kasambabezi. It's a 34-bedroomed lodge.
The projects under development include Waterfalls Lodge, Mosia Tunya Rit Hospitality Project, Penio Retreat Center, Mopani Lodge Extension, and the Outlook at Victoria Falls. The tourism boom is also expected to create jobs, increase foreign exchange earnings, and enhance infrastructure development. Tichao Nakurewa, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
And that is our look at your business news. Let's take a look at now in the arts. Preservation of choral music was the focal point at the inaugural Tirompane National Choral Awards that were held in Bulawayo at the weekend.
An electric atmosphere engulfed the United College of Education Hall in Bulawayo as 10 choirs from across the country converged for the ultimate choral music showdown, which had the audience mesmerized by vocal brilliance.
The competition here was stiff. All the participants were on point. Aiwa angari makwichu zvanga zvakaoma asi ndinotenda kuti all the choirs sang very well and the standard was very, very high.
Ndafara zvikuru nekuti tabudirira kuwina mu competition A out of 8 choirs which participated.
Organized by the Chiro Mpane Foundation, the competition was meant to revive and preserve choral music.
The main aim of this competition is to bring about all Africans singing and to make sure that choral music in our country and different countries does not actually die.
Government reaffirmed its commitment towards supporting what choral music stands for.
As a ministry, we want to grow the cultural and creative sector
into an industry whose contribution to the economy of this country will be unquestionable.
Chitungwiza Harmony Singers emerged overall winners and will represent Zimbabwe at the upcoming Southern Region Choral Music Competition, which will be held in South Africa from the 14th to the 15th of December. Grace Sibanda, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
And that is our look at the arts. Lawrence Trusida is on standby with your sport. A familiar face in the announced Warriors squad. Lawrence.
Thank you so much, Butler. Yes, indeed, the Warriors captain Marvelous Nakamba has bounced back to the squad announced by head coach Mike Ernest.
Zimbabwe are set to play Namibia in back-to-back AFCON qualifiers on the 10th and 16th of this month at Orlando Stadium in South Africa. The two matches will mark the return of Warriors captain Marvelous Nakamba, who is one of the 6 changes made to the squad announced this Tuesday. England-based Nakamba has been out through injury and has not featured for the Warriors since the game against Nigeria in a 2026 World Cup qualifier in Rwanda. The holding midfielder is one of the 6 changes made from the previous squad that faced Cameroon and Kenya last month. In the goalkeeping department, Donovan Bennett has been dropped for Martin Maposa, while Mali Tavaziva and Washington Arubi retain their positions. In defense, Divine Lunga and Brendan Galloway also make a welcome return to join Munashe Garanganga, Teenage Hadebe, Godnoz Muruira, Emmanuel Jalai and Jordan Zemura, who have kept their places. Highlanders defender Andrew Mbeba and Manika Diamonds captain Farai Banda have been dropped. In midfield, vice-captain Marshall Munetsi, Ndiri Nomota, Tawanda Chirewa and Brian Banda retain their places. Up front, Terence Dzukamanja has returned to the Warriors' fold in place of the injured Douglas Mafumo. Tinotenda Kadewere bounces back after recovering from an injury in place of Tawanda Maswanise, while Obriel Chirinda has also been omitted. Kama Billiard, Walter Musona, Prince Dube and Daniel Msendami keep their places in the squad that is set to get into camp on the 6th in Johannesburg. Zimbabwe are third in Group J with 2 points from 2 matches. Kenya are top with 4 points, alongside Cameroon in second, while Zimbabwe are on 2 and Namibia anchor a log without a single point. The top 2 teams from the group will qualify to the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations set to be held in Morocco.
We look forward to those matches that are going to be played next week in South Africa. Moving on to handball news, Bulawayo was a high of activity at the weekend as 40 teams took part in the Bremerton handball tournament.
Beach handball is similar to standard handball, but it is played on sand instead of a solid floor under the same rules. The Beach Handball Commission is introducing the new version of the sport in Zimbabwe, and it was action galore at the United College of Education in Bulawayo at the weekend, with over 40 teams participating at the inaugural Bremerton Beach Handball Tournament. The Handball Commission also took the opportunity to scout for national team players.
There was a selection of national team players who are going to Durban in December to represent the country, and also there are junior players who were playing on Friday who were selected into the national teams for Zone 6. Zimbabwe is going to compete in Ethiopia in November.
Players were equally excited to be part of the landmark development.
Tikuona matalents akawanda. Takatarisa my young players at Trona, they are developing. The sport is developing.
Regular competition ending, they were not easy. Regular competition ending, but we managed to strive through that competition.
I believe it's good exposure to get to play with players from all around the country, and then and they are fighting for the trophy, even though we lost, but lose against the best, and when you've tried your best, it's actually a win.
The sponsor of the tournament, Bremerton Group, intends to make it an annual event.
This is our first tournament, and we are looking forward that we are going to have it next year.
The tightly contested affair saw Spartans taking first position in the senior men category, while Manyame Sparrows were the top team in the women's section. Grace Sibanda, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Moving on, a football legend and the Cameroon Football Federation president Samuel Eto'o has been banned from attending any national team games for 6 months by World Football Governing Body FIFA. Eto'o, who has been the president of the Cameroon Football Federation since 2021, was facing 2 charges after an incident at the Under-20 Women's World Cup in Colombia on the 11th of September. According to FIFA, Eto'o was found guilty of breaking disciplinary rules relating to offensive behavior and violations of the principles of fair play and the misconduct of officials. In a statement, FIFA said that the ban prevents Eto'o from attending Cameroon men and women's football matches of all categories and age groups. This means Eto'o will not be part of Cameroon's men's national team games in the qualifying groups for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations and the 2026 World Cup to be played in March next year. So, yeah, troubles are there for Samuel Eto'o. It just goes on to show the difference between being a footballer and being an administrator. That's all we managed to have for you in Sports News this evening. It's back to the main desk with Butler and Joyce.
Thanks a lot, Lawrence, for that look at the world of sport. Exciting stuff coming there from that ban of Cameroon. But just quickly, before you go, I know that it's story for another day, of course, but we're also looking forward to the Harare Derby, Caps United and Dynamos this coming weekend.
Yes, it might be Locom, but Butler, a derby is still a derby, and lots of fights expected on Sunday. Remember, the first leg ended 1-0, so definitely one of the team wants the capital bragging rights.
Absolutely, and of course, looking forward to the State of the Nation address tomorrow live here on the station as well, Joyce.
Indeed, I'll be looking forward to that, certainly, and that's a major highlight tomorrow. Make sure you do not miss that one. And on that note, we say good evening from all of us here.
Makorokoto matenderwa